The Ethiopian Bible stands as one of history's most intriguing and profound religious texts, distinguished not only by its unique content, but also by its remarkable journey through time. In contrast to the widely recognized 66-book Protestant Bible, the Ethiopian Bible contains 88 books, including ancient texts that offer deeper insights into early Christian thought and practice. This sacred collection's existence raises fundamental questions about the formation of biblical canon and the preservation of religious knowledge. The Ethiopian Bible includes texts like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, works that were widely read in early Christian communities, but eventually excluded from most biblical traditions. These additional books provide invaluable perspectives on ancient religious understanding and cultural practices. The story of the Ethiopian Bible is intrinsically linked to Ethiopia's unique position as one of the world's earliest Christian nations. Since the 4th century, Ethiopia has maintained an unbroken Christian tradition, preserving texts and practices that disappeared elsewhere. This early adoption of Christianity and subsequent preservation of ancient texts demonstrates Ethiopia's crucial role in maintaining diverse Christian traditions. The translation of these sacred texts into Ge'ez, the ancient liturgical language of Ethiopia, marked a significant milestone in religious history. This translation not only made the scriptures accessible to Ethiopian believers, but also preserved ancient religious texts that might otherwise have been lost to time. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's careful guardianship of these texts has ensured their survival through centuries of political and social change. Recent scholarly interest in the Ethiopian Bible has revealed its importance not just as a religious text, but as a window into early Christian thought and practice. The additional books it contains offer unique insights into ancient Jewish and Christian beliefs about angels, creation, and divine justice. These texts have become increasingly valuable to scholars seeking to understand the development of religious thought in the ancient world. The Ethiopian Bible's preservation has had profound implications for modern religious scholarship and interfaith dialogue. Its existence challenges us to consider how religious canons are formed and maintained, and what might be gained from examining texts that were preserved in some traditions but lost in others. The Ethiopian Bible not only as a religious text, but as a bridge between ancient and modern understanding of faith. Today, as religious scholars and leaders increasingly recognize the importance of diverse religious traditions, the Ethiopian Bible stands as a testament to the richness and complexity of early Christian thought. Its preservation reminds us that religious history is not a simple linear narrative, but a complex tapestry of different traditions and interpretations. This exploration of the Ethiopian Bible will reveal not only its historical significance, but also its continuing relevance to modern religious thought and practice. Through examining its unique contents, preservation, and influence, we can better understand both the development of Christian thought and the importance of preserving diverse religious traditions. Ethiopia's embrace of Christianity predates many modern Christian nations, with historical records tracing its Christian roots to the 4th century AD. The conversion of Ethiopia began during the reign of King Ezana of Aksum, making Ethiopia one of the first countries to adopt Christianity as its state religion. The story of Ethiopian Christianity is intrinsically linked to the teachings of two Syrian brothers, Frumentius and Odysseus. These merchants were shipwrecked on the Red Sea coast and eventually brought to the royal court of Aksum. Frumentius, later consecrated as the first bishop of Ethiopia by Athanasius of Alexandria, played a pivotal role in establishing Christianity within the Ethiopian royal court and among the people. What distinguishes Ethiopian Christianity is its unique development relatively isolated from European Christian influence. This isolation allowed Ethiopia to maintain distinct religious practices and preserve ancient religious texts that were lost or excluded elsewhere. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church developed its own liturgical traditions, religious architecture, and biblical interpretations. The royal court's acceptance of Christianity led to the construction of magnificent rock-hewn churches, such as those in Lalibela, which remain architectural marvels and important pilgrimage sites today. These churches, carved from solid rock, demonstrate both the deep commitment to Christianity and the sophisticated architectural capabilities of ancient Ethiopia. This early adoption of Christianity also influenced Ethiopia's diplomatic relations, particularly with other Christian nations. Ethiopia became known in medieval Europe as the Kingdom of Prester John, a mysterious and powerful Christian ruler believed to reign over a Christian nation in the East. The translation of the Ethiopian Bible into Ge'ez represents one of the most significant achievements in religious textual preservation. This process, beginning in the early 5th century, involved dedicated scholars who worked meticulously to translate sacred texts from Greek and Hebrew into the classical Ethiopian language. The translation effort was initiated under the guidance of the 9 Saints, a group of missionaries who arrived in Ethiopia from various parts of the Eastern Roman Empire. These scholars not only translated biblical texts, but also established monasteries that became centers of learning and manuscript preservation. The monastery of Debre Damo, in particular, emerged as a crucial repository for ancient manuscripts. The Ethiopian scribal tradition developed unique characteristics in the preservation of these texts. Scribes employed distinctive writing materials, including parchment, made from carefully prepared goatskin, and developed specialized inks that have remarkably endured through centuries. The manuscripts were often adorned with elaborate illuminations that reflected both Ethiopian artistic traditions and religious symbolism. The preservation process extended beyond mere copying of texts. Ethiopian scholars developed a sophisticated system of textual commentary and interpretation, known as andemta, which accompanied the biblical texts. This system preserved not only the original texts, but also their traditional interpretations and applications within Ethiopian Christian culture. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church established a rigorous system for maintaining the accuracy of these translations, with designated scholars responsible for comparing new copies against established manuscripts to ensure fidelity to the original texts. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has served as the primary guardian and transmitter of Ethiopia's biblical heritage since its establishment. Throughout its history, the Church has maintained a complex hierarchical structure that ensured the preservation and proper interpretation of sacred texts. The Church established a sophisticated educational system centered around monasteries and churches. These institutions served as centers of learning where priests and scholars underwent rigorous training in biblical languages, liturgical practices, and manuscript preservation techniques. The monastery of Debre Libanos, founded in the 13th century, became particularly renowned as a center of theological education and manuscript production. Under the Church's guidance, specific protocols developed for the handling and storage of sacred texts. Special ecclesiastical buildings known as treasuries or madars were constructed within church compounds specifically for housing manuscripts. These buildings incorporated architectural features designed to protect the texts from environmental damage and unauthorized access. The Church also developed elaborate liturgical traditions that incorporated readings from the broader canon of Ethiopian biblical texts. This regular liturgical use helped ensure the continued relevance and preservation of texts that were gradually forgotten in other Christian traditions. The Church's practice of maintaining both written and oral traditions has provided valuable insights into how these texts were understood and interpreted throughout Ethiopian history. Through periods of political upheaval and social change, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has maintained its role as custodian of these sacred texts, ensuring their transmission to subsequent generations. Archaeological discoveries have provided substantial evidence supporting the historical authenticity of Ethiopia's biblical traditions. The most significant findings have emerged from Ethiopia's ancient monasteries and churches, where centuries-old manuscripts have been preserved in remarkable condition. The discovery of the Garima Gospels in Ethiopia's Abba Garima Monastery stands as a pivotal moment in biblical archaeology. These illuminated manuscripts, dated to between the 4th and 7th centuries, represent some of the earliest surviving Christian texts. The exceptional preservation of these Gospels, complete with their original bindings and vibrant illustrations, offers invaluable insights into early Christian manuscript production and artistic traditions. Archaeological excavations at Aksum, Ethiopia's ancient capital, have uncovered evidence of early Christian practices and the integration of biblical traditions into Ethiopian society. The discovery of stone inscriptions featuring biblical references and Christian symbols has helped scholars understand how Christianity became deeply embedded in Ethiopian culture. The monasteries of the Tigray region have yielded particularly important manuscript discoveries. These findings include ancient biblical commentaries, liturgical texts, and unique versions of books found only in the Ethiopian biblical canon. The preservation conditions within these mountain monasteries, including their dry climate and traditional storage methods, have helped maintain these documents' integrity over centuries. These archaeological discoveries continue to enhance our understanding of Ethiopia's role in preserving ancient Christian texts and traditions, providing tangible evidence of the country's long-standing Christian heritage. The Ethiopian Bible's structure presents notable differences when compared to other biblical canons. While the Protestant Bible contains 66 books and the Catholic Bible includes 73 books, the Ethiopian Bible encompasses 88 books, making it one of the most comprehensive biblical collections in Christian tradition. The Ethiopian Old Testament contains several books not found in other versions, including the complete Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and additional works attributed to ancient religious figures. These texts provide supplementary narratives about creation, angelic beings, and divine justice that complement the traditional biblical accounts. In the New Testament section, the Ethiopian Bible includes works such as the Shepherd of Hermas and the Acts of Paul, which were widely circulated in early Christian communities, but eventually excluded from most biblical canons. These texts offer valuable insights into early Christian teachings and practices. The organization of these texts within the Ethiopian Bible reflects a distinct theological understanding. The arrangement demonstrates careful consideration of thematic connections and historical chronology, creating a comprehensive narrative of divine revelation and human history. These structural differences emerge from historical circumstances and theological decisions made during the formation of various Christian traditions. While Western Christianity underwent significant changes during the Protestant Reformation and Counter-Reformation, the Ethiopian Church maintained its traditional canon, preserving texts that were gradually removed from other Christian traditions. The Ethiopian Bible contains several distinctive texts that offer profound insights into early Jewish and Christian thought. The Book of Jubilees, sometimes called the Lesser Genesis, presents an expanded narrative of creation and early biblical history. This text provides detailed chronological frameworks and additional stories about biblical patriarchs, offering valuable perspectives on how ancient religious communities understood their sacred history. The Shepherd of Hermas, included in the Ethiopian New Testament, comprises a series of visions, commandments, and parables that were highly regarded in early Christian communities. This text presents important teachings about repentance, moral conduct, and church organization that influenced early Christian theology and practice. The Ethiopian canon also preserves the complete text of 1 Enoch, which elaborates on the brief biblical mention of Enoch in Genesis. This comprehensive work includes detailed accounts of celestial phenomena, apocalyptic visions, and teachings about divine justice that significantly influenced both Jewish and Christian thought. The Acts of Paul and Thecla, another unique inclusion, narrates the missionary journeys of Paul and his influence on early Christian converts. This text provides valuable insights into early Christian attitudes toward women's roles in the church and the challenges faced by early Christian communities. These distinctive books reflect the Ethiopian Church's commitment to preserving a broader range of early Christian literature. Their inclusion offers modern readers access to important religious texts that illuminate the diverse nature of early Christian thought and practice. The literary value of the Ethiopian Bible extends beyond its religious significance, representing a remarkable achievement in ancient literature and historical documentation. The texts demonstrate sophisticated narrative techniques, poetic structures, and rhetorical devices that reflect the advanced literary traditions of ancient religious communities. From a historical perspective, these texts provide invaluable insights into the social, cultural, and religious dynamics of ancient societies. The detailed descriptions of religious practices, social customs, and historical events contained within these texts offer historians unique windows into periods otherwise poorly documented. The Ethiopian Bible's preservation of ancient Jewish apocalyptic literature, particularly through texts like the Book of Enoch, fills crucial gaps in our understanding of religious thought between the Old and New Testament periods. These works illuminate the development of concepts that would later become central to both Jewish and Christian theology. The manuscript tradition itself holds significant historical value. The careful preservation of these texts in Ethiopia has maintained ancient textual variants that were lost in other traditions, allowing scholars to trace the development and transmission of religious texts across centuries. The Ethiopian biblical manuscripts often preserve readings that help clarify difficult passages in other versions, contributing to textual criticism and biblical scholarship. These texts also document historical interactions between different religious communities, recording debates, conflicts, and cultural exchanges that shaped the development of early Christianity and Judaism. The Ethiopian Bible continues to significantly influence modern religious and historical scholarship. Contemporary researchers increasingly recognize its value for understanding the development of early Christian thought and practice. Leading universities and theological institutions now incorporate these texts into their religious studies programs, acknowledging their importance for comprehensive biblical scholarship. The preservation of unique textual variants in the Ethiopian Bible has proven particularly valuable for modern textual criticism. Scholars studying the transmission and development of biblical texts frequently consult Ethiopian manuscripts to better understand how religious texts evolved over time. These manuscripts often preserve ancient readings that clarify difficult passages in other biblical versions. The Ethiopian biblical tradition has also influenced modern interfaith dialogue. Its preservation of texts respected by multiple religious traditions has facilitated conversations between different faith communities, particularly in discussions about shared religious heritage between Christianity and Judaism. Archaeological researchers continue to discover new insights through the study of Ethiopian biblical manuscripts. Advanced imaging techniques have revealed previously unreadable portions of ancient texts, while careful analysis of manuscript materials and production methods has enhanced our understanding of medieval book production and preservation techniques. The Ethiopian Bible's influence extends into contemporary theological discussions about canon formation and religious authority. Its existence challenges scholars to reconsider traditional assumptions about biblical canon and encourages more nuanced approaches to understanding how religious texts were selected and preserved. The Book of Enoch, preserved in its complete form only in the Ethiopian biblical tradition, presents a comprehensive narrative that expands upon the brief mention of Enoch in Genesis. This ancient text consists of 5 major sections, each offering unique insights into early religious thought and cosmic understanding. The first section, known as the Book of Watchers, details the fall of angelic beings called Watchers, who transgressed divine boundaries by interacting with humans. This narrative provides crucial context for understanding ancient perspectives on divine-human relationships and the origin of evil. The text describes these angels teaching humans various arts and sciences, leading to both advancement and corruption in human society. The astronomical section of Enoch presents detailed observations of celestial phenomena, demonstrating sophisticated ancient understanding of astronomical patterns. This portion includes descriptions of solar and lunar movements, seasonal changes, and stellar configurations that held both practical and theological significance in ancient times. The text also contains extensive prophetic visions, including the famous Son of Man passages that later influenced early Christian theology. These prophecies present detailed apocalyptic scenarios and judgments, offering insights into ancient expectations about divine intervention in human history. The ethical teachings within Enoch emphasize justice, righteousness, and divine judgment, themes that would become central to both Jewish and Christian traditions. The text's detailed exploration of these themes reveals sophisticated moral philosophy that bridges Old Testament wisdom literature and New Testament teachings. The relationship between the Book of Enoch and canonical biblical texts is particularly evident in several New Testament writings. The Epistle of Jude explicitly quotes from Enoch, acknowledging its prophetic authority by stating, "Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about them." This direct citation demonstrates the text's significant influence on early Christian thought and writing. The Book of Enoch's influence extends beyond explicit quotations. Its concepts and imagery appear throughout various New Testament texts, particularly in descriptions of judgment, resurrection, and celestial beings. The Gospel of Matthew's account of the final judgment shares notable parallels with Enoch's descriptions of divine judgment, suggesting familiarity with these traditions among early Christian writers. In relation to Old Testament texts, the Book of Enoch elaborates extensively on Genesis 6:1-4, providing detailed explanations of the sons of God and their interactions with humanity. This expansion demonstrates how ancient religious communities interpreted and expanded upon canonical narratives to address theological questions. The text's cosmological descriptions align with and expand upon biblical references to celestial phenomena. Its detailed astronomical observations complement biblical passages about the sun, moon, and stars, offering insights into how ancient cultures understood divine order in creation. Notably, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church's preservation of Enoch, alongside canonical texts, reflects an understanding of Scripture that embraces both works as complementary rather than competing religious authorities. The status of the Book of Enoch has generated significant scholarly and theological discussion within religious communities worldwide. Leading scholars have focused on its historical authenticity, theological implications, and its role in understanding early religious thought. These debates primarily center on three key areas of consideration. The first area concerns the text's historical origins. Scholars examine linguistic evidence, historical references, and theological concepts within the Book of Enoch to determine its composition date and authorship. The discovery of Aramaic fragments among the Dead Sea Scrolls has provided valuable evidence for dating portions of the text to at least the 2nd century BCE. The second debate focuses on the text's theological authority. While the Ethiopian Orthodox Church accepts the Book of Enoch as canonical, other Christian traditions have historically viewed it differently. This divergence raises important questions about canon formation and religious authority in early Christianity. Religious scholars continue to examine why different Christian communities made varying decisions about the text's canonical status. The third area of debate concerns the text's influence on early Christian thought. Recent scholarship has demonstrated the Book of Enoch's significant impact on early Christian writings and theology. This influence extends beyond explicit quotations to include shared concepts, imagery, and theological frameworks. Such findings have led to renewed interest in understanding how early Christian communities interpreted and utilized these texts. The Book of Enoch continues to provide valuable insights for contemporary religious and historical research. Modern scholars examine this text to understand the development of religious thought during the crucial period between the Old and New Testaments. This research has revealed important connections between ancient Jewish apocalyptic literature and early Christian theology. The text offers significant value for understanding ancient cosmological concepts. Religious historians study its detailed astronomical observations to comprehend how ancient societies integrated scientific observation with religious belief. These investigations provide crucial context for interpreting both biblical and historical references to celestial phenomena. Anthropologists and cultural historians find particular value in the Book of Enoch's descriptions of ancient social structures and cultural practices. The text's detailed accounts of community organization, religious rituals, and moral codes provide important insights into ancient Mediterranean and Near Eastern societies. Literary scholars examine the text's complex narrative structures and symbolic language to better understand ancient literary techniques. This analysis helps reveal how religious communities conveyed complex theological concepts through sophisticated narrative forms. The Ethiopian preservation of the complete text has proven especially valuable for comparative textual studies. Scholars can now examine how different versions of the text evolved across various cultural contexts, providing insights into the transmission and adaptation of religious literature in the ancient world. The Ethiopian Bible provides detailed genealogical records tracing the lineage of Ham, one of Noah's 3 sons, and his connection to various peoples of Africa. According to these records, Ham had 4 sons: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, each becoming the progenitor of distinct nations and cultures. The text specifically identifies Cush as the ancestor of Ethiopian peoples, establishing a direct genealogical connection between Ham and Ethiopian civilization. This lineage appears prominently in both the traditional biblical narrative and additional Ethiopian texts, which provide expanded details about these family connections. Mizraim, identified with ancient Egypt, established one of the world's earliest and most sophisticated civilizations along the Nile River. The Ethiopian biblical texts offer additional insights into the relationships between these ancient African kingdoms, describing diplomatic, cultural, and familial ties that bound these civilizations together. Put, though less prominently featured, is associated with regions of North Africa, while Canaan became the ancestor of peoples who settled in the Levant. These genealogical connections highlight the complex network of relationships between ancient African and Near Eastern peoples. The Ethiopian Bible's preservation of these genealogical records has particular significance for understanding historical connections between ancient African civilizations. These records provide valuable insights into how ancient peoples understood their relationships with one another and their common heritage through Ham's lineage. The Ethiopian Bible's genealogical records establish significant connections with documented Ethiopian history, particularly through the accounts of the Queen of Sheba's visit to King Solomon. This narrative holds special significance in Ethiopian tradition, as it establishes a historical link between the Solomonic dynasty and Ethiopian royalty. According to Ethiopian historical records, the encounter between Solomon and the Queen of Sheba resulted in a son, Menelik I, who became the first emperor of Ethiopia. This lineage formed the basis of Ethiopian imperial legitimacy for centuries, with subsequent emperors claiming descent from this Solomonic line. The Ethiopian Bible provides detailed accounts of this relationship, offering additional context beyond the brief biblical mention. The text also documents the transfer of religious authority to Ethiopia through accounts of how the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Axum. These narratives connect Ethiopian religious history directly to ancient Israelite traditions, establishing Ethiopia's role as a guardian of ancient religious heritage. Historical records within the Ethiopian Bible detail the development of Ethiopian Christianity, including the conversion of the Aksumite kingdom and the establishment of monastic traditions. These accounts align with archaeological evidence and historical documents from other sources, providing valuable corroboration of Ethiopian historical narratives. This historical documentation demonstrates the interweaving of religious and political authority in Ethiopian society, explaining how biblical genealogies helped shape Ethiopian national identity. The genealogical records preserved in the Ethiopian Bible have profound cultural and spiritual significance that continues to influence Ethiopian society. These records establish Ethiopia's place within biblical history and shape the nation's religious and cultural identity through a carefully documented lineage connecting ancient biblical figures to Ethiopian history. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church maintains these genealogical traditions through its liturgical practices and religious ceremonies. The church calendar includes specific commemorations of key figures from these genealogical records, reinforcing their spiritual significance in contemporary worship. These observances connect modern practitioners to their ancient heritage through structured religious practices. In Ethiopian religious art, these genealogical connections are represented through distinctive iconographic traditions. Church murals and manuscript illuminations often depict the key figures from these lineages, creating visual narratives that reinforce these historical and spiritual connections for worshippers. The artistic traditions surrounding these genealogical records have developed into a unique form of religious expression that characterizes Ethiopian Christian art. The spiritual understanding of these genealogies extends beyond mere historical record-keeping. They are interpreted as divine confirmation of Ethiopia's special role in religious history, particularly through the preservation of ancient biblical texts and traditions. This understanding has fostered a deep sense of religious responsibility and cultural pride within Ethiopian society. Recent archaeological discoveries have provided important context for understanding the historical elements preserved in the Ethiopian Bible's genealogical records. Excavations at ancient Ethiopian sites have uncovered inscriptions and artifacts that correspond with names and places mentioned in these biblical genealogies, offering material evidence that complements the textual record. The careful preservation of ancient manuscripts in Ethiopian monasteries has allowed scholars to examine these genealogical records using modern analytical techniques. Through detailed analysis of manuscript materials, scribal practices, and textual variations, researchers have gained deeper insights into how these records were maintained and transmitted through generations. Studies of ancient Ethiopian church architecture have revealed how these genealogical traditions influenced the design and decoration of religious buildings. Architectural elements and decorative programs often incorporate symbolic references to key figures from these lineages, demonstrating how deeply these traditions were integrated into Ethiopian religious culture. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's traditional practices of manuscript preservation have maintained these records in remarkably good condition, allowing contemporary scholars to study them in detail. The Church's systematic approach to protecting these documents, including traditional storage methods and careful copying practices, has ensured their survival for modern study. These discoveries continue to enhance our understanding of how ancient Ethiopian society documented and preserved its historical and spiritual heritage, providing valuable insights into the development of religious and cultural traditions. The Ethiopian Bible stands as a testament to the enduring power of religious and cultural preservation. Its significance extends far beyond its role as a religious text, representing a unique confluence of historical documentation, spiritual tradition, and cultural heritage. The preservation of this comprehensive biblical collection offers invaluable insights into the development of early Christian thought and practice. The Ethiopian Bible's distinctive characteristics, including its broader canon and unique texts, provide crucial perspectives on how religious traditions evolved in different cultural contexts. Its preservation of works like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees has maintained access to important religious literature that might otherwise have been lost to history. These texts continue to inform our understanding of ancient religious thought and practice. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's role in preserving these texts demonstrates the importance of institutional commitment to cultural heritage. Through centuries of political and social change, the Church maintained not only the physical manuscripts, but also the traditions of interpretation and understanding that give these texts their full meaning. This preservation effort represents one of the most successful examples of long-term cultural conservation in human history. The value of these preserved texts extends beyond religious significance, providing crucial insights into historical events, cultural practices, and intellectual developments in the ancient world. Their continued study enriches our understanding of human spiritual and cultural development. The Ethiopian Bible maintains significant relevance in contemporary religious and academic discourse. Its comprehensive collection of texts provides essential resources for understanding the development of religious thought and practice. Modern scholars continue to discover new insights through careful study of these preserved writings, enhancing our understanding of both historical and contemporary religious traditions. In interfaith dialogue, the Ethiopian Bible serves as a valuable bridge between different religious traditions. Its preservation of texts, respected by multiple faith communities, facilitates meaningful discussions about shared spiritual heritage. This role has become increasingly important in our interconnected world, where understanding between different religious traditions is essential for fostering mutual respect and cooperation. The Ethiopian biblical tradition also offers important lessons for cultural preservation in the digital age. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's successful preservation of these texts through centuries demonstrates the importance of systematic approaches to maintaining cultural heritage. These traditional preservation methods continue to inform modern conservation practices. Within contemporary Ethiopian society, these biblical texts remain vital to cultural identity and religious practice. They provide a foundation for understanding Ethiopian heritage and continue to influence artistic expression, literary traditions, and religious ceremonies. This living tradition demonstrates how ancient texts can maintain their relevance while adapting to contemporary needs. The study of the Ethiopian Bible continues to present significant opportunities for future research and scholarship. Traditional manuscript collections in Ethiopian monasteries remain incompletely cataloged, suggesting potential for additional textual discoveries. These unexplored resources may contain valuable variants or previously unknown religious texts that could enhance our understanding of early Christian literature. Academic institutions worldwide are developing new approaches to studying these ancient texts. The application of advanced manuscript analysis techniques promises to reveal additional layers of information within existing documents. Furthermore, ongoing translation projects aim to make these texts more accessible to international scholars and researchers. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church's traditional preservation methods merit further investigation for their potential applications in modern conservation practices. Understanding these time-tested techniques could provide valuable insights for preserving other historical documents and cultural artifacts. Comparative studies between the Ethiopian biblical tradition and other ancient religious texts present another promising avenue for research. Such studies may reveal previously unrecognized connections between different religious traditions and illuminate the development of early Christian thought. The integration of Ethiopian biblical studies into broader religious and historical scholarship continues to expand. This integration promises to provide more comprehensive understanding of how religious traditions developed and spread throughout the ancient world. Let us bow our heads in reverence as we conclude this exploration of the Ethiopian Bible's profound legacy. Heavenly Father, we are humbled by the wisdom preserved through generations in these sacred texts. We give thanks for the dedication of those who maintained these precious writings, ensuring their transmission through centuries of change. We express gratitude for the Ethiopian Orthodox Church's faithful guardianship of these ancient manuscripts, and for all those who work diligently to preserve your word. Their commitment has enriched our understanding of your divine message. Grant us wisdom as we continue to study these sacred texts. May our research and understanding serve to strengthen faith and foster unity among all your children. Help us appreciate the diverse ways your truth has been preserved and transmitted across different cultures and traditions. Guide us in applying the lessons learned from these ancient writings to our modern lives. May the wisdom contained within the Ethiopian Bible continue to illuminate our path and deepen our understanding of your divine will. We ask for your blessing upon all who study these texts, that their work may contribute to greater understanding and spiritual growth. May these preserved words continue to inspire and guide future generations in their spiritual journey. In your most holy name we pray. Amen. If you found value in this exploration of the Ethiopian Bible's rich heritage, please take a moment to support our ongoing work. Your engagement helps us continue producing in-depth content on religious and historical topics. Subscribe to our channel to receive notifications about new videos examining ancient texts and religious traditions. By joining our community, you'll gain access to regular insights into religious history and cultural heritage. Share this video with friends and family who might appreciate learning about these preserved religious traditions. Your shares help spread knowledge about important historical and spiritual topics. Finally, if you found this content informative, please show your support by liking this video. Your feedback guides us in creating content that serves your interests and contributes to broader understanding of religious traditions. Thank you for being part of our journey to explore and preserve religious knowledge. Best regards, the research team.